Now, it's my pleasure to introduce this morning's speaker. And, you know, I'm not crazy about cliches. We talk a lot about thinking outside the box. And we have a speaker this morning who does not think outside the box. He thinks in a different area code. Easily one of the, probably the most out-of-the-box thinker I've ever met, and probably the most out-of-the-box thinker that the fire service has ever known in this country. Dr. Burt Clark entered the fire service in 1970 when he became a volunteer firefighter in Prince George's County, Maryland. He then worked as a career firefighter with the District of Columbia Fire and EMS Department for 8 years. He left DC Fire to work at the National Fire Academy, where after 32 years of service, he retired as the Management Sciences Program Chair in 2014. During his time at the NFA, he co-founded the Executive Fire Officer Program in 1987. The Executive Fire Officer Program exists today as a graduate level curriculum with 4 courses taken over 4 years, with each course requiring submission of an applied research project in the corresponding subject area. Dr. Clark has served as an instructor at the Maryland Fire Rescue Institute. He has been an assistant chief of the Laurel, Maryland Fire Department, and he has been a technical reviewer for the National Institute of Occupational Safety and Health's Firefighter Fatality Investigation and Prevention Program. He's been an operations chief for the Federal Emergency Management Agency at multiple national disasters, and I'll tell you that FEMA does a better job than what some in the media will lead you to believe, and Dr. Clark is responsible for a lot of that. He's the author of an untold number of articles that have appeared in various trade journals, as well as the 2015 book, I Can't Save You, But I'll Die Trying, The American Fire Culture. I don't know how far I missed, but as best I can determine, Bert, you gave your first national lecture in 1977. Google has rarely ever failed me. That was, at that time, Bert was speaking about smoke alarms at the National Fire Protection Association convention that year, 1977. And while most would have become entrenched in the status quo 40 years ago, you know, Bert's been waving the flag of change his whole working life. He's an outspoken national advocate for firefighter down awareness and training. That's what we would call in the business of Mayday. And following the death of Amarillo, Texas firefighter Chris Hunto in 2005, who was killed after the door of the fire apparatus he was riding in opened and turned, and Chris, not wearing a seatbelt, was ejected and killed, Dr. Clark took up the cause of a national safety campaign by developing the National Fire Service Seatbelt Pledge. And it's really unfortunate that we have no way of tracking how many firefighters are alive today who otherwise wouldn't be due to Dr. Clark's efforts. You know, we're sort of like tracking the fire death that never occurred or the fire that never happened. You know, when we have a fire in a building, we know what the loss was, but we don't have a very good way of tracking the loss that never occurred. His latest national cause is helping fire service members, both elected and appointed leaders, and the public at large to understand the influence of culture on how we think about and approach the U.S. fire problem. As he says, society needs to change how it thinks and feels about fire death. When a civilian is killed by fire, it's not an act of God, and when a firefighter is killed, it's not part of the job. He advocates for an automatic, in-place fire protection model that includes fire sprinkler legislation, stronger fire and building codes, more defined urban wildland interface boundaries, and a change in the fire service from a response focus to a prevention focus. And Bert, it's an honor to have you in our midst this morning.
Chief, thank you very much. Chief Mayo is the only one that won't be hugged. We're eye to eye. Chief, Mayor, elected officials, family, firefighters, thank you very much. I'm honored to be here. 46 years ago, I had the privilege and honor to be in your seat. Today, being invited is a higher privilege and greater honor. What a cap on a career. To be there and now to be here, it's fantastic. On November 10th, 1972, I graduated from the District of Columbia Fire Department Class 249. Today, I can't remember what the speakers had to say. And tomorrow, you won't remember what I have to say today. Because the speech really doesn't matter. The question is, what will matter? Why is this important? What will matter to you tomorrow and every day over the next 30 years of your career will be several things. Your health, your family, your pension, and career satisfaction. To have those blessings, it will take courage, commitment, and competency over the next 30 years. On the topic of your health, the fire service has always been and always will be dangerous. That's why only an elite few enter the discipline. Early in my career, my lieutenant told me firefighters have to get killed as part of the job. I have rejected that notion for 30 years. Even after September 11th, I still do not believe that. You must decide today if being injured or killed is part of your job. I pray none of you are ever faced with a World Trade Center event. Since that infamous day, which we all vicariously experienced, the fire service has a new understanding of what's possible. But your job over the next 30 years is to act on the probable every day to ensure your safety, your health, and your survival. And you can do the right thing. Maintain your physical fitness to reduce your risk of a heart attack or cancer, which is our #1 killer. Wear your seatbelt going to and returning from alarms to reduce your risk of automobile accidents. At this moment, I must digress a little bit. On the 4th of July last week, North Carolina lost firefighter Goodnight, responding to a call in his personal vehicle. He had a crash, he was ejected and died. Please take a moment to remember firefighter Goodnight. Thank you. And then just this week, a firefighter in Florida fell out of his fire truck responding to a call. He had to be life flighted. He ended up with a concussion, but as of right now, he's recovering. Use all your PPE and BSI to protect yourself from lifelong illness. Follow your department's, fire department SOPs and training doctrine, because in every NIOSH firefighter line of duty death report, the firefighter and others around him were not following their SOPs and training doctrine. It is simple, but not always easy, to do the right thing, especially when other people around you are not. It will take courage. From today on, you will have two families, one you live with and one you work with. Few disciplines share the unique characteristic of the fire service. As a firefighter, you have a passport and open invitation to any fire station in the world. Along with this becomes instant friendship and professional credibility. But the fire service cannot take the place of a loving spouse, children, and grandchildren who always want you to come home to them. Your challenge over the next 30 years will be to keep two lovers. Not an easy task, but firefighters are taught to do the impossible. You will know if you've taken care of your two lovers at your next retirement party, if an equal number of fire service colleagues attend out of the contribution that you've made to the discipline, and family members attend out of the love and appreciation you've given them. You will have cared for your two families well. It will take commitment. On the topic of your pension, I will defer to your capable retirement board, your benevolent government, and a grateful community. Now the difficult topic, career satisfaction. Each one of you will have to decide what kind of yardstick am I going to use to measure satisfaction. What will give you fulfillment and gratification? How will it meet your appetites and desires throughout your career? How will that change over time? The fire service discipline is truly a calling that lets you challenge yourself mentally, physically, and emotionally. I can't give you a measuring device, but what I'll share with you are 4 ideals that have helped guide me over the past 48 years. First, the art and science of being a firefighter is a life and death vocation that requires you to perform every task 100% correct, 100% of the time. Because over the next 30 years, you do not know which error will result in an accident that leads to a tragedy. Second, society trusts firefighters. Your duty is to act professional, follow a code of ethics, and deliver the highest standard of care. What will help you reach this goal is to treat all people that you run into as family, friends, or neighbors. Third, do your best all the time. Then determine how you can do better the next time. This will require lifelong education, training, practice, and research. Fourth, honor the past. A lot of people and events got you to where you are today. Celebrate this precious present, because that's all any of us ever really get. Believe in the future. You are responsible for creating it. The future is where you will spend the rest of your career. It will take competence. What will matter 30 years from now? I hope you have health, a loving family, and career satisfaction. The price for these blessings will be 30 years of courage, commitment, and competence. In conclusion, I have a favor to ask. 30 years from today, I want you to find the newest member of the fire department, walk up to him, and tell him what you think matters. Thank you.